Despite KDP getting more competitive every year, new low-content publishers are still coming along and building revenue streams of hundreds or even thousands of dollars a month. So what is it that they know that you don't? Today, I'm going to share 5 things that successful low-content publishers do to stay ahead of their competition so that you can apply the same strategies to your low-content books. I'm also going to show you the best example that I've seen of a self-published brand who found a really unique way to stand out in one of the most competitive low-content book niches, and they are making tens of thousands of dollars every single month. This is video 2 of a series I'm doing all about low-content books and how to experience success with your low-content publishing in the year to come. And if you want links to all of the other videos in this series, you can find those down in the description below. Now, the first thing you need to do is define your target market, because you're not even going to know who your competition is, let alone how you can beat them, unless you know who exactly it is that you're creating your low-content books for. What age is this group of people? Are they senior citizens? Are they teenagers? What is their gender? What are their values or their hobbies or their interests? What life stage are they at? Once you know all of these things, then you can create the book content and the design that will appeal specifically to that type of person. One way to actually come up with and define who your target market actually is to look at all of the books that belong to a broader niche and try and figure out who are the underserved target markets, or target markets that aren't even represented at all. That might be a really good in for you. So one really good example of this is in this kind of broader niche of affirmations. Now, there are a lot of books out there in that broader affirmations niche, but this book did a really good job of zeroing in specifically on young men. And they haven't just said affirmations for young men in the title or in the description. They're actually using language that's going to appeal to that demographic. So an affirmation book that's targeted at an older lady, maybe someone who's in her 70s or 80s, the title's not going to be "Bruh, you got this," right? So this book has done a really good job of zeroing in on who their target market is, even with the language. You can also see that this demographic targeting has been brought through to the book cover design as well. Now, this targeting has really paid off. This book's got 86 positive reviews, and it's got a bestsellers rank of 86,000. So that's selling fairly regularly. The next thing to do is to analyze your competition. Doing a proper analysis of your competition is going to allow you to identify possible opportunities for yourself. Just like in our last example, where that publisher was able to target young men in the affirmations niche. So if I want to get into the adult coloring books for relaxation niche, I'm going to go onto Amazon, I'm going to type that keyword into the search bar, and I'm going to look at what comes up. I'm going to be taking a look at all of those competitors. I'm going to try and figure out who it is that they're targeting. I'm going to look at the general themes that they're using. I'm going to take a look and see if they've got an established brand. If they're using ads, what is their pricing strategy? What are these books doing really well? Are they failing in any particular areas? Are there particular sub-niches or target audiences that are not being served? So just taking a quick glance right here, I can see that there's coloring books about animals and nature, landscape, stress relief. Cozy seems to be a theme that's coming up quite a bit. Hygge, simplicity. I'm seeing something seasonal for Christmas. I'm also noticing that most of these books have quite a lot of really good, some cases 4 or 5-star reviews. So this is looking pretty competitive to me. If I see one that's doing well, I'm going to click in and I'm going to take a look. Does this person have an established brand? Is this the only book that they've got? Or does this lead to a series of other books? How well are those books doing? Do I reasonably think that I can compete with these books? And what I mean by that is, can I reasonably expect that I'm going to create a book that's just as good as, but preferably better than the books that are already out there making sales? Tip number 3 is to be different. What are you going to do that's going to set your book apart from everyone else in your niche? Think about why someone would be motivated to buy your book over somebody else's. Because if you just try to do what everyone else is doing, or you even just try and copy someone else's successful book, the only way that you can actually beat them is by undercutting the price, and that's no way to make money. It's much better to create a higher value product that you can actually charge more money for. And this is where I get to show you an example of one of the best brands, if not the best brand that I've seen, that is doing this right now on KDP, and they are making an absolute killing. So the brand is called Coco Wyo, and they're a coloring book brand. Not only have I been blown away by the quality of the books, as you can see, they're really, really impressive, but I also think they've done such a great job into niching down into probably what's one of, if not the most competitive low content book niches on Amazon, which is adult coloring books. And this little sub niche that they've really seemed to cash in on is cozy coloring books. Now this actually makes a lot of sense to me. I've noticed over the past few years, there's been this surgence in fiction books, these cozy mysteries. So when I saw these cozy coloring books, it made perfect sense, but I haven't actually seen any of these coloring books before. And just by looking at these coloring books, you can see exactly who they're trying to appeal to, which is teenagers, maybe older kids, or maybe even younger adults. Like you could almost see one of these people just cozying up on their couch on like a rainy day or something like that and pulling out their markers or their pencil crayons. They've got their little cup of tea on the table beside them. The style of these books is just, it's really evocative, and I've been incredibly impressed with what they've done. And you can really kind of see the evolution that they've been through. So if you go ahead and order their books from publication date and then scroll down to the bottom, you can see how different their earlier books really were. So these all look very different than the books that they're publishing now. And these earlier books, they didn't do nearly as well as the newer books. So another good lesson to take from this is to really experiment, and when you find something that's working, double down. So once they identified this cute and cozy little sub-niche of coloring books, things really seem to take off for them, and they have got so many bestsellers. And I think this one right here is probably their #1 bestseller right now. And like I said, they've got many bestsellers. This is just one of them. This book is ranked number 17 in the entire Amazon store. So in case you're ever curious as to how much money a book is potentially making, there's this great online book sales calculator. You can find this on the Kindlepreneur website. All you need to do is enter their bestsellers rank. Make sure that it is set to paperback or hardcover. Make sure you've got the right marketplace selected. Show the advanced calculator. Enter in the number of pages. And then you'll get the estimated earnings per day, earnings per month, copies sold per day, and copies sold per month. So guys, according to this calculator, this book is making over $2,000 a day. Estimated earnings per month, $65,500 every single month. That is just one book. One book. So is it worth it to put the amount of time and effort into your books that this self-publisher is clearly putting in? Yeah, very much so. Step number 4 is to create a marketing strategy, because if there's a lot of competition, it's not going to be enough to just publish your book and hope for the best. You will have to make some extra effort to get your book in front of some more eyeballs. So you can be grassroots about this. You can send your book link off to friends and family who you think might be interested, ask them to share it on their social media, share it on your social media. Anything you got to do to sort of leverage your own existing network. I talked about this in the previous video, but you can leverage other people's audiences. So if there's someone with a blog or someone with a YouTube channel or even a podcast that's in your niche and creating content, you can reach out to them, give them a free copy of your book. They might want to have you on to talk about it or talk about that topic in general. Maybe they'd be willing to promote your book if it was something that they found value in. Or you can offer to do a guest post or come and appear on their podcast or YouTube channel. Something where you can offer value to them, but at the same time get in front of their existing audience. And of course, if you're publishing in a really competitive niche, you're almost certainly going to need to use ads so that you can bring your book up to the top of the pile. Now, the final tip is to be the best. And I know that that might seem really obvious, but I've had so many low content publishers come up to me, show me their books, and they're competing in some really, really competitive niches. Adult coloring books being one of them. And when they show me the covers of their books or the interiors, there's just no way that they're ever going to be able to compete on that level because their books just aren't good enough. When you're checking out a niche and determining whether or not you want to publish in that niche, you really have to take a good look at all of those competitors' books and ask yourself honestly if you think you're going to be able to create something that is at the very least as good as, but preferably better than what's already been published? Can you create a book that has a better cover, a better interior than what's already out there? And if you really don't think that you can, then I would avoid that niche entirely and keep looking for something else. So like I always say, you don't have to be a professional graphic designer to do really well with low content publishing, but you do need to have a good sense of what looks good and what good design looks like, so that when you're sourcing high quality graphics from a site like Creative Fabrica or something similar, you're actually going to know how to make those customizations and know how to combine those elements in a way that's going to give you a really appealing and professional looking end product. Because that really is the only way you're going to be able to compete in those highly competitive low content book spaces. Now, if you're new to low content publishing and you want to give it a try in this coming new year, please download my free guide, 3 Steps to Publishing Your First Low Content Book in Less Than a Day. I have linked to that down in the description below. If you found value in this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to learn 5 things that you can do to sell more low content books in 2025, then check out this video next. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.